Hello. Long time no see. Wow. Really a long time. For me, it looks like years. What I'm going through in these years that we are not connecting. Um, Before I talk about this week and this beautiful dualities gate of love that is in the sun, it just occurred to me. I thought about it this morning that this year is, as I saw it in the beginning of our wheel year, yes, in the 22nd of January, the thing that really popped out of the chart for me was that the profile of the year was 3-5, and it's so, it shows itself in my life big time. This is a year that I am in a very interesting discovery of changes, bonds made and broken with my beliefs and the way I see things, and a lot of heresy, which I really enjoy. Heresy in my process, anarchy in my process, trial and error, learning what doesn't work, which part of the past don't work anymore, and so on and so on. So this is such a 3-5 adventure this year, and because of all these heresies and the way that my perception of everything is changing, that's why I also look very, very differently through these eyes of human design, and I see differently the program and everything. So I find it hard to bridge the gap, because what happened in these last 2.5-3 months of my life was such a huge change that for me it's like years, and so it's very interesting. So you might feel these changes. You will feel these changes in my attitude and the way I see things, and that's why I also don't find the correct energy to do it every week, because I see things in a larger way, not really every gate that moves, even though, of course, every gate that moves does and affects and impacts. It's not that it's not happening. Just the way I perceive it is a little different. Maybe a little more than a little. So we are in the middle of the quarter of duality, and gate 46 is the gate of love that belongs to this quarter of duality. And we began to experience the energy, the amazing energy of the vessel of love. This is the 21st of September, a very unique day. This is the day that we have. It's really the formal beginning of the autumn, and of course, love of the body. Let's explore our Sun Earth in a little different way this time. We have this pushing upward gate, good fortune that may be perceived as a result of serendipity, but derives from effort and dedication. It's really a lovely gate, an amazing gate. This is the aspect of love of the body. And as I understand today, all the vessels of all the gates of the vessel in the G center are, of course, aspects of love. And love is really the ultimate state of being. And love is what makes us, gives us the possibility to be one with everything and to experience life from the perspective of the creator. Very, very interesting. We know that in the G center sits the driver. And the driver is what we call the higher self. And as long as we live our lives in a homogenized way, we really need to embrace the back seat. We need to stop initiating and believing that we know, that our mind knows the way. And that's why we need to withdraw and sit in the back seat and allow our driver, which is us in a higher frequency, lead. And the more we are aligned with this higher frequency of us, then we begin to feel that we are actually behind the wheel. Now, I know this is heresy, but it's an amazing heresy that just grew and was revealed to me. It wasn't that I was thinking about wanting to hold the wheel. I don't feel now that I hold the wheel. I feel that I'm one with the wheel, not through the mind. Well, this is really, really, the difference is huge, because I remember what it was before the experiment, creating my reality from here. Oh God, it wasn't good. So, and it's interesting that we're talking about this amazing gate pushing upwards that talks about really, it's when I look, now when I speak to you, my unconscious mind just gave me the answer. Good fortune that may be perceived as a result of serendipity, but derives from effort and dedication. That means that the effort and dedication of this spiritual path was to surrender totally to the design, especially if I talk about myself, to my design, and be 6 years of silence, let's say, not initiating, not creating anything deliberately, being totally in the back seat. And suddenly it looks as if I'm lucky, but it's not. This was hard work. This was effort and dedication. And it is still effort and dedication. And then suddenly, wow, it looks unlucky. But this is the essence of this gate, and we are going to feel it this week very strongly. Yes. So Richard Rudd from the Gene Keys calls this gate a science of luck, which again, it looks like serendipity. It looks as if we are just happen to be in the right place at the right time, but it's much more than that. You are in the right place in the right time. We're talking about space-time reality. We're talking about the magnetic monopole, the driver, our spaceship that goes through, yes, that love and direction and identity are actually one. So it looks that this is luck, but it's not. It's the trajectory of life that we, if we surrender to it totally, then we actually take the wheel to our hands and start creating our reality in a conscious way. This is really, really interesting. And it's totally, it's a heresy for me to say these things, but heresy that I feel that I'm like breaking my own rule, or let's say breaking the bond with my old beliefs. But it's from a new place, and it's all filled really with love. I mean, it happened in a loving way. This heresy is full of love. Okay, so let's look at this love of the body. And I also looked at the keynotes that Richard Rudd in the Gene Keys book associates with this gate. And it's really, really beautiful, because I was exploring this, because this is part of my cross and part of my chiron. I can't get away from this. I need to explore these 4 gates of the vessel, and I do now through treading, while I'm treading on this earth. So this 46 gate is in the quarter of duality, is about pushing upward to the kingdom of heaven. Now, this pushing upwards comes from saying yes. You remember the abysmal, that is the harmonic gate of this, that together they form the channel of discovery. We are saying yes to life. We are entering experiences which we don't know what their lesson would be. We do it by being existential and determined to be in the experience itself until in the end, when it is finished, or during phases that are, everything is cyclic. So in this life experience, yes, we have little cycles, and in every little cycle we actually can stop and see what we've learned, and see the beauty of this discovery, of this experience. And we are doing this with another person. Both gates of this channel of discovery come from the quarter of duality. This is the exploration, the exploring, the discovery of what can we learn in an adventure with another person. The goal is to discover ourselves and to love ourselves through this relationship. And it doesn't matter which kind of relationship. But of course, if we talk about the quarter of duality, we can put personal relationships, love relationships. And it's very interesting to see these three keynotes, because the shadow, the part that we all live in, the homogenized world, is the seriousness. Now, this is such an amazing gate, but I remember myself when I was little, really little, I was a very serious person. I'm a little person, but I was serious. And growing up, slowly but surely, I started to feeling the delight of this discovery, the delight of self-love, the delight of love of the body. But it really, it's part of it. It was always together, the seriousness and the delight. And only in the last years, I really feel the delight and the laughter, yes, much more, and the joy, yes, much more than the seriousness. And what waits for me and for all of us when we look at this gate is one aspect of who we are, is the ecstasy of really pushing upward, the process of pushing upwards to the kingdom of heaven. Even if you're not there yet, the pushing upward itself, and the serendipity and the luck, the blessed luck that we experience while we are discovering this journey. We are going through this trajectory to the kingdom of heaven that is inside of us. We experience ecstasy. And the ecstasy can be in lovemaking. The ecstasy can be in treating our body with respect and love, and feeding it, and doing good and healthy things for it, and so on and so on. And it's all, in the end, all of the gates of love are an aspect, in the G Center, are an aspect of self-love. So if we love another person, and this other person reflects to us our lessons, our blessings, everything, this is another way of seeing this discovery journey, and it fills with delight and ecstasy. Of course, it could be very serious, but it could be filled with delight and ecstasy. And that's the way I see it now, and I really experience this, and it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And we have a week, 6 days, that this beautiful energy falls on us through the neutrino stream, 70% of the neutrino stream, and we can just be in totally delight and ecstasy, exploring ourselves through the other, through love of the body. Wow, what a week. The earth is in the gate of universal love. And Richard from the Gene Keys, Richard Rudd, calls this gate the myth of the sacred wound. And this is the gate of innocence, the perfection of action through contrived and spontaneous nature. And, you know, this is a very unique gate because this is the coolest aspect of love. This is the love that is actually a potential in everything. You can love everything and you can discover love in everything. And it's really this cool love of the shaman or the high priest that loves everybody and also loves everything. This is the love, the relationship you are having with objects. Yeah. And also, this story about the myth of the sacred wound is so strong because this is my cross and my Chiron cross. I really researched this because I understood, and I think it happened to me like less than a year ago, that I started diving into these gates of my cross, and you know, Ra says that if we live correctly, then in the Chiron period, the cross takes over, and all the other things of the chart are kind of hidden, or they're not that dominant. The only thing that really is important is the cross, the profile through this cross that we have. And in my case, I have the same cross, so this is very interesting, you know, the cross of the Chiron. And I felt it really strongly for the last few years. And now I feel it even stronger than the minute that we are behind the wheel. We recognize that the higher part of us is behind the wheel, and we can take the wheel. Then we can go through this healing trajectory with our intent. We take part. We don't just sit in the back seat and say, okay, let's see what happens, but we take the initiative in our personal journey. And it's very interesting because this sacred wound in the 25th gate is actually the wound that we carry from past life. We get to this life with, this is the way I see it, yes. We come to this life with a wound, with an emotional wound. It's about love. It's not emotional in the solar plexus point of view, but from the gate of love. It's like something in our identity is wounded, and we need to take steps to cure this wound. And this wound, the way Richard Rudd see this shadow, is as a constriction, and it is. I mean, I could really relate to it. It's the fear to feel. It's the fear to put your hands in the real fire and feel your own emotions about things. And this is really strong. When I dived into it just by feeling, I pondered, I contemplated on this, and I saw that until I accepted, and it's interesting how it combines beautifully with gate 60, yes, the gate of limitation. The first step is the first step in order to accept, to transcend, is to accept limitation. Yeah, and I needed to accept this place that I closed, this constriction that I had in me. And now I even recognize that this constriction comes, and I think it is in many, many people that are what we call old souls here, that have this wound that is actually is a variation of of the limitations or vows that we took when we were spiritual people in other lives, and we took our vows not to be engaged in relationships, not to be engaged in material abundance. And what happened is that this energy comes with us, and it can come, it can appear in a form of a wound, of this wound that we need to shut ourselves in order to not feel the pain of the wound. Now, when we take the wheel to our hands, when we say, okay, I want to heal myself, I'm not just going to sit and wait until the deconditioning does its thing, because it doesn't always do these deep things. It can, but it might, but I understood I want to push upward this process, and I started working with this. And of course, I started working with it many years ago, but now after combining everything together and all the beautiful and strong results that I had from these 6 years of being strongly in my strategy and authority and sleeping alone. So suddenly I could face this constriction. I could face the need to accept where I am and to accept the fact that I'm not letting myself really feel. And from this acceptance, of course, what emerges and what flows is the universal love. So we have it also this week. I mean, I invite you to look at this aspect in your life. Just look at it and see if it's there. Because now the program helps you and offers you a projector, offers you a way to project light on these aspects of your life, and invites you to take the initiative to start healing or looking at them or recognizing them in you. So now we can come back down to earth and see what the Neutrino Week is going to do for us. So we know that we have this channel of logic and the channel of transformation for a long time now. And now we have new arrivals. We have new arrivals for the autumn sale. In the 23rd, the moon will enter the 44th gate, which it's interesting to look at because we have here the sun in the quarter of duality. The moon will be in the quarter of duality. Mercury is gets into the 47th gate, the gate of oppression, and which is duality. And of course, Mars also entered the 64th gate, the gate of confusion, in duality. This is the channel of the mind fuck of relationships. So we have the abstract channel, the logic channel, and we have the whole stream of instinct, this tribal stream of instinct that takes the pressure of the marrying maiden and brings it to the ego. Very interesting. Now, look at that. We have 4 channels, actually, 4 channels, and the mind is so defined. And wow, so many people are going to feel this very, very strongly. 4 centers, 5 centers defined in the transits are, and all these forms for us a very strong global conditioning pattern. Because we are lucky, yes, the science of luck, because we are lucky, so an hour and a half later, one pressure is going to leave us. Jupiter leaves the gate of duration, the 32nd gate, and moves to the 50th gate, the gate of values, this gate of cauldron, this tribal cauldron that all the tribal values are being cooked in. And this is also, of course, duality. So we're going to release all these people a lot of them, including me, that were in compromise to the channel of transformation, we'll have a little break, and the channel of surrender, this 4426, will stay for about 10 or 11 hours until the 44th moves. The moon will move from the 44th. In the 24th, we are going to have a breakthrough because because first of all, the nodes, they leave the 6th line and they move to the 5th line. That means that the end is slowly coming of this revolutionary, forgot the word, formulas. And the moon is in the gate of breakthrough, the gate of insight. That would help a little bit. It gets all this huge activity in the mind a little closer to the throat. So all the people that have, let's say, only the 23 and nothing from everything else, wow, they will know so much stuff. And all the others, you know, we are waiting for this to move on. It's a lot of mental pressure. The 25th brings Mercury to the 6th line of the 47, the gate of oppression, and the channel abstract will have the futility line. And I'm putting an emphasis on this because just now, I think 2 weeks ago, we had the sun in the 47th, and it was very strong. And especially the day, the 21 hours or something like this, that we have the 47th gate in the 6th line, futility. It was really strong. And Mercury is also important because we are communicating this. So I really invite you to remember, because there will be a lot of talk of futility and depression and oppression, and we just really don't need to believe that. No, we just need to create an intent before it starts that we are going to go through this in a very joyful and ecstatic way. But we're not going to succumb to it because it is a very heavy energy. And the end of this neutrino week we are going to talk about intimacy, because when the moon leaves, when Mercury leaves the 47th and the 6th line futility, first of all, the channel of the abstract goes away, and the chatter and the blah, blah, blah will be about intimacy, yes or no, and it begins with the inferiority complex in the first line, in detriment. So after depression and oppression, yeah, we might feel inferior, but please remember this. Only transits, only Mercury, and it might help us see things in ourselves that we need to cure or accept or be compassionate about, but we don't really need to believe it too hard. So this is our very unique week of the vessel. And yes, these two aspects of the G-center, love and direction, will always accompany us anywhere we look in this life, because this is the essence. This G-center represents who we really are, the inner being, the higher self, whatever, how you want to call it, this energy, that it is part of source energy and this divine energy of us. And the divine aspects of us are really, this divine identity is made of love and direction that are all the time spiraling and swirling and taking us to this journey of discovery of our lives, of who we are, or of what we are, and this beautiful spiritual spaceship just goes to the unknown, and this exploration and discovery journey is just amazing. So thank you for being here and for being patience with me until I come back. And I hope to see you soon. And I'm sending you a lot of love. Bye-bye.